Alright everyone, it's time to talk about PewdiePie because, BuzzFeed's jumping down his throat and the co-founder apparently of, what is it, Campo Santo, which I guess is a gaming development studio. I don't know anything about him. I've never played Firewatch, so I don't know. Maybe it's a good game, maybe it's a crappy game, maybe it's somewhere in the middle. Who cares? We got to talk about this though. I know it's fashionable to pretend to be offended at everything these days, to declare that somebody is an evil bigot because they say one thing that's, mildly out there. I'm not taken in by the moral panic, though, because I know that the moral panic exists. Anyone who's aware that we're under a moral panic knows that these things that are being said, they're pretty normal. In private conversation, this sort of thing is said a lot more often than the social justice warriors would have people believe. They say it, too. They use racial slurs, absolutely. PewDiePie did the unpardonable. He used the N-word when he was streaming. I guess Firewatch was the game he was playing, which is why this gaming studio is involved here. I could be wrong, though. It could be a different game and they're just reacting. The first thing I would say is this. He's threatening to file what amount to false DMCA complaints against PewDiePie. The problem is this. On your page for the game, you openly proclaim, hey, you can stream our footage. You can upload clips of footage of you playing the game. We don't have a problem with it. In fact, we encourage it. Well, that's going to be problematic for you if you get dragged into court. If you should file these complaints and he countersues, which he certainly has the money and the power to do, you're probably screwed because they'll be seen as false complaints. You yourself proclaim that it's okay to stream the footage. There is no caveat for people saying offensive things on the stream. This would get, as a U.S. firm, I believe Campo Santo is, this would get into a First Amendment debate, including the fact PewDiePie is originally Swedish, lives in the UK. It wouldn't matter, ultimately. It would be constrained under U.S. law. It would be a U.S. battle. If he chooses to come over and to pursue that, you probably screwed yourself. You shouldn't have openly proclaimed this on Twitter. It was a bad idea. Then says, oh, well, PewDiePie's worse than a closeted racist. He makes garbage. And funny, you never had a problem with him for years before when he was playing yours or anybody else's games. No, people kind of liked it. There's like, oh, PewDiePie's playing our game? Oh, shit, we're going to make so many sales. Make 100,000 more copies real quick. That's what they did. They loved it. But then PewDiePie got labeled as a racist by the Wall Street Journal, and things went south because all of a sudden, people assumed that that was true. It wasn't. They were taking clips of him out of context and pictures out of context. He probably should have sued them for slander. For some reason, he decided not to and instead make a joke out of it, which I guess gained him some respect. Maybe he doesn't want to censor the press, but they should be constrained to reporting what is true. When you're not talking about some political figure, you're not talking about someone with legal power. You're talking about someone who makes YouTube videos. Show a little bit of deference and restraint would be my guess. See, if someone did that to me, like if someone did a write-up about me, and they said, oh, well, Styx is an Nazi, I would sue. I would sue for defamation the next day. I would lawyer up. And I have the ability to do that too. So they shouldn't take that threat lightly. And it is a threat. But they like to threaten to see what they're used to, what these groups are used to. They're corporations, which is all they are. They're used to being able to harass and bully people and face no repercussions, under the banner of, oh, we have the free press. Well, you know what? YouTubers are part of the free press, too. It's the activities of the press that we undergo. Someone's written a book, somebody's making a video, doing a blog write-up, explicitly protected under the freedom of the press. Not free speech. I'm not talking to anyone in person right now. I'm talking on video, storing it on YouTube and elsewhere. People are seeing that. It's an activity of the press. I analyze, I talk about what's happening in the world. That's a freedom of the press. It's not the freedom of speech. It overlaps. I am speaking, but I'm not doing it in person. Press covers everything that's not interpersonal interactions via speech themselves. Handing out billets quite physically or something like that. PewDiePie did nothing wrong. I'm not offended by what he said. Because I've seen so much worse than that. Just use the internet for a couple of days. Stop pretending. You can't possibly have been locked into an echo chamber long enough to be totally sensitized to everything that's slightly off the wall. Like, oh, this streamer used the word hell. I have a problem with that. Here's another thing. These are corporations. This is just an advertising strategy for them. Back in the 50s, What did companies do? Red Scare times, moral panic. What did they do to market themselves? Oh, we're the most American company ever. Look, all of our products are slapped with a flag and a picture of Jesus Christ. We hate communism. Drive our car, drink our beer, chew our tobacco. It's fine Americana. Oh, it's lovely. It's just swell. That's how they marketed themselves. They never cared about the larger issue. They weren't actually taken in by it. It was grandstanding. During a moral panic, it was a good marketing strategy. That sort of fell out of favor later, didn't it? Oh, yeah, it bit him in the ass. It's going to happen this time, too. Satanic panic times. Oh, we need to burn these heavy metal albums. We need to keep up appearances. Mom and Pop taking the Iron Maiden albums, they put them in a pile. Little Jimmy's never listening to this satanic trash again. We're taking away, we're taking away their Green Day posters or something. It's offensive to us. We need the government to slap warning stickers on everything. Did it work, or did it increase the sales of that kind of music for an entire generation and lead to the rise of MTV that, again, bit you in the ass? Oh, that's exactly what it did. Then pretty soon you were being satirized as boring and outdated, and that's going to happen again. Give it 5 years, maybe less. Might not even take that long with the rate at which it's churning along. This moral panic is moving faster than normal. I think it's because it's internet related largely. But people getting labeled undeservingly, almost always, bigots or Nazis right now. And this is the reason why a lot of people will be reluctant to come to PewDiePie's defense. They'll say, oh, but he said the N-word. That's a really touchy one. I don't know if I want to talk about this because, you know, I don't really have a problem with it, but then I might get called a Nazi or something. Doesn't make you a Nazi for saying, hey, this is a totally disproportionate response to one slur that he happened to make. Totally disproportionate. And most of the people pretending to be offended are not actually offended. They both say and hear worse on a fairly regular basis. They do. That's the truth. You may not admit to it openly because you're afraid of being labeled. I'm not afraid. I don't really care what people label me. I've been labeled everything under the sun. I've had people calling me, oh, Sticks is far left, Sticks is far right, Sticks has, racialist. Who fucking cares what other people label you? Grow a pair. Used to be a time when we valued it. When somebody simply stood on their own merits, they said, well, screw you. I'm going to have whatever beliefs I want. Now it is the post-truth era. Now we expect that elements of the tabloid media, like the Salons and HuffPost, are going to attack anybody who says something that's ultimately totally innocuous, like when they take something totally out of context. It happens all the time. Happens constantly. And it's dishonest. And it should, by the way, be illegal for a corporation to do that. Just because you say, well, we're engaged in journalism, you're still a corporation. Doesn't give you the right to defame other people. Okay, if it's like some politician or it's like strictly satire and it's labeled as satire, yeah, that's explicitly protected. Satire, absolutely. It's also very funny when you do that. But this is just someone who makes YouTube videos. He's getting threatened with false legal complaints. No, I stand by him. I have no problem with what he said. It doesn't offend me. I've seen far worse on a regular basis. And by the way, the whole censorship thing, it's like, if you start trying to censor that sort of stuff, it's just going to get more prevalent because it gets taboo. It gets exciting and fun. Stuff that for a while there, people just said whatever they wanted on the internet. And the hateful side actually was on the decline for a while. It grew out of fashion because it was so prevalent, no one was trying to stop it. Now that you've got an attempt to censor this sort of stuff, including this sort of side material that's ultimately, it's not PewDiePie, oh, he's the virulent racist. It's PewDiePie, oh, he said one thing on one friggin' stream. Well, then it's going to be seen as cool. By the way, do you really think it's a good idea to threaten such things? To threaten a negative reaction to someone who has 57 million fans? I don't think it's a good idea. No, I think that you should have said absolutely nothing. Nobody would have possibly said, well, PewDiePie was playing Firewatch and said something bad, therefore Firewatch is bad. Nobody would have made that connection. Come on. Get off your high horse. That's so dumb. Nobody's going to make that connection. Now they'll make a connection because you said, oh, by the way, he was playing our game and we disavow and we condemn and we're going to file complaints and we're going to do everything else under the sun. You've screwed yourself. Now you will face the wrath of his fans. By the way, you'll face the wrath of other people who are simply tired of craptivism. And that's what it is. It's people pretending to be activists, pretending to be outraged, pretending to be offended, pretending to be social moralists. Most of these people, they're not. They're just pretending. It's peer pressure. They're small minds. They're very small people. They have a small mental capacity. They just follow the crowd. BuzzFeed told them somebody was a Nazi, so they just assume it's true. Because they can't think for themselves. They haven't been told to. They need to be told to think for themselves in order to start doing it, oddly enough. That's the problem we've got in society. Oh, PewDiePie said something offensive in his stream. Who cares? By the way, YouTube might back him up on this one. I say, well, and we don't, yeah, okay, we've set it to 18 plus. What more can we possibly do? You think they want to kick off or let be endangered the top user on the whole platform? A platform as large as YouTube, you realize how much ire that would generate? The ripple effects would be enormous. YouTube's not going to kick PewDiePie off for saying one off-color thing. People were trying to label him a bigot because he was painting Pepe pictures in some painting game. Oh, this is a dog whistle to the alt-right. No, it's not. It's a cartoon. It's a frog. No, you give it that meaning. Other people might give it that meaning, but that's not the meaning most people have in mind. There's, oh, it's a meme. Okay. All right. Yeah, who cares? Yeah, that's the state of the world as it is today. People pretending to be outraged. And the corporations love it when people pretend this because then they can market products more easily to them. It creates a false demographic. It creates literally an artificial demographic that they can pander to. And then they try to silence anybody who points out, hey, that's dumb. Well, I'll point out that it's dumb. It's just fine to say that because it's true. The truth doesn't fear investigation. Well, you go ahead and investigate it a little bit. You honestly think that these multi-million-dollar firms actually care about morality? Well, how did they get where they are? By being cutthroats half the time. Stabbing other companies in the back they were competing with. That's how they got where they are. They compete with one another. They have to be cutthroats, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now I guess they've decided to go cutthroat on the creator community on social media and video hosting sites. A big bad mistake. You realize that we have a lot more fans than most of these groups do. I'm nowhere near the top. I got plenty of subscribers. I've got more leverage than a lot of companies do. PewDiePie, well, the biggest of all. I'm scratching my head to find somebody who has more leverage than PewDiePie actually has, technically speaking. He uploads something, the next day it's got millions of views. So what if he uploads a video saying, oh, boycott Firewatch or something? Oh, I'm being threatened by these people, so, you know, I took the footage down myself. I'm not playing it, and I ask you not to play it. Whoop, there go your sales. Bye. Yet you end up being the ones that suffer. How could you think it was a good idea? I just don't get it. I just don't get... Why do people have such poor ideas of what strategy is? And this goes to the right wing, too. Like when they file in with torches, oh, you know, Hitler this, Hitler that. You think that's a good strategy? Okay, God bless you for being dumb. Okay. Yeah. You need to keep strategy in mind. Let's just say there are plenty of people in this world who definitely wouldn't be able to command an army. They just say, our ideals are the best, objectively speaking, go kill yourself for me. Wonderful way to win a victory. Now, that doesn't work. These companies do it all the time. They don't even realize 5 years from now they're going to be left in the dust. Those companies, not just alt tech, other companies showing restraint, they're going to be the ones that grow. Because the next paradigm will be an inversion of this one. Shoe will be on the other foot. All these people right now popping Xanax and haranguing about moral issues are going to be left behind. They're going to be seen as the gossiping church ladies of the temperance movement. The exploitative companies that appealed to Americana in the Red Scare. The moralists clutching their pearls and talking about how evil Ozzy Osbourne was in the 1980s. They're going to be seen the same way. It's happened before. It happens over and over and over again. What more need you know? It's going to keep happening too. There'll be more moral panics in the future. I'll stand against those ones too if I'm still alive when they happen. Probably for the next one I will be. We'll get some period of stability after this one collapses. We'll go back to normalcy, which means that edginess will regain its total youth appeal. We'll have another sort of, you know, jackass or heavy metal thing going on. And it'll be good, by the way. Hopefully that makes the music better. Or something under this. Maybe it makes, you know, films better. You know, you remember in the Satanic Panic also, they had the slasher flicks. It was cinema too. And they went after them. Oh, this is so bloody and so violent. We don't want this trash on our screen. Now, most of the people calling it trash never really cared. They just weren't fans of the material. They weren't offended by it. They pretended to be. Because their gossipy neighbor pretended to be offended. And so they took it up as a banner. And then their neighbors took it up as a banner. And it just sort of spread that way. Online, it spreads a lot faster, of course, because it's instant communication. It's not like small-town America 30 years ago, back when you had to be fed your reality by cable news. Now they're dying too. Good riddance. I keep hoping that Salon and HuffPost and all these others will collapse too, but they keep straggling on. Salon and I think BuzzFeed too have trouble paying the rent, you know, cutting staff and stuff. But they just... they're like Bill Clinton. They're like zombified. They just won't go away. I wish they would. That's about all. Peace out.